much for the work that he does, for his presence here as well. And to tell you, let me tell you a little bit about myself, tell you why I'm here, what I'm trying to do. My father came to the United States at the age of 17 from Poland without a nickel in his pocket. And he never made much money in his whole life. He worked very hard. We were lower middle class, never hungry. But he and my mom managed to send 2 kids to college. That was pretty good. And he loved his country for that opportunity. And sadly enough, I mean, while that is the story of millions of Americans, in many ways we are losing that today. As Dick just mentioned, the reality facing America today is pretty simple. The great middle class of America, which was once the envy of the world, is now disappearing. That's a fact. We have tens of millions of families that are working longer hours for lower wages. Median family income, that family right in the middle of the American economy, has seen its income go down by $5,000 since 1999. Men workers, male workers, are making $800 less than they made 41 years ago in real inflation accounting for dollars. Women workers are making significantly less than they made 7 years ago. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty in the industrialized world. 20% of our kids are living in poverty. But while the middle class is disappearing and more people are living in poverty, there is another reality going on. And that is that the people on top and large corporations are doing phenomenally well. Corporations today are enjoying record-breaking profits. Wealthiest people are doing extraordinarily well. In terms of income and wealth inequality, you remember one statistic. Here this. Today, the top 1% owns 37% of the wealth of America. The bottom 60% own 1.7% of the wealth. Got that? So if we had 100 people in this room, and they were there to reflect all of America, you would have one person, and we decided to bring a big pizza with 100 slices. You get one person getting 37 slices of pizza, getting rather fat. And then you would have 60 people sharing 1.7 pieces of pizza. That's wealth inequality in America. In terms of income inequality, income is what we make every single year. And since the Wall Street crash, which was caused, as you know, by the greed, recklessness, and illegal behavior on Wall Street, 95% of all new income has gone to the top 1%. Got that? So no matter what kind of economic growth we see, it doesn't matter much because almost all the new income goes to the people on the top, the people who need it the least. So the gap between the very, very rich and everybody else is growing wider economically. And then politically, we're seeing something equally dangerous. All of you, I think, are familiar with the Citizens United Supreme Court decision. And that is one of the worst decisions in the history of the U.S. Supreme Court. What it said is that if you are a billionaire, you can now spend as much money as you want on the political process. So what is happening right now? What is happening right now is that you have a family like the Koch brothers. Koch brothers are worth $85 billion. Second wealthiest family in America. And I'm going to tell you in a moment what they stand for, what they know that. And what they are saying is, thank you, Supreme Court, because now we made, last year alone, we increased our wealth. I know I'm throwing out numbers here, stay with me, by $12 billion. In 1 year, their wealth went up by $12 billion. $1 billion a month increase in their wealth. Hard to imagine, right? Okay. So they have more money than they can ever dream of spending. And you know what they're doing with that money? They're spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars from the East Coast to the West Coast trying to buy elections in the U.S. Senate,
the U.S. House, and in state legislative races, in school board races. School board races. Now, I am deeply impressed when I see the t-shirts, Las Vegas vote. And I know, as the senator just said, that you got a very important Senate race right here. And I know that all over the country people say, a Senate race, state Senate, that's crap, who gives a damn about that? But you know that it is enormously important who controls the state Senate, who controls the House. And obviously in Washington now, the struggle is at a time when the U.S. House is controlled by right-wing Republicans whose agenda have voted to end Medicare as we know it, to make massive cuts in Medicaid, massive cuts in education. They now want to control the United States Senate as well. And they spend hundreds of millions of dollars. So all from the Senate to the House, the state legislative races, these guys are spending huge sums of money. Now, instinctively, I think most Americans say, yeah, it's not a good idea that billionaires should be able to buy elections, but it is important to understand what these guys actually stand for. We don't talk about it. What do the Koch brothers stand for? Why are they spending hundreds of millions of dollars? What's their agenda? All right, let me tell you what their agenda is. You don't see it on the media, and the media is another issue we have to talk about. In 1980, David Koch, one of the Koch brothers, ran for vice president of the United States on a party called the Libertarian Party. And he helped fund the campaign. And they have a platform of the campaign. I want to read to you just some of the provisions, and I'm going to quote exactly the language in their platform. And you may say, well, that was 35 years ago, they may have changed. There is nothing that I have seen which suggests that they have changed. I want to read you the agenda. So when you get involved in the political process, and you are standing up for candidates who are fighting against the Koch brothers, I want you to understand what that means for you and your kids and your parents. This is the fight. Now, we all know that Citizens United said, billionaires, you can now spend as much money. But right now, what the billionaires have to do by and large is do independent expenditures. That is, put ads on television would say, tell Senator da-da-da why he is such a jerk, or the da-da-da-da. They want to change that so that they can give directly to a candidate. This is what they said in 1980. We urge the repeal of federal campaign finance laws and the immediate abolition of the despotic Federal Election Commission. You know what that means? This is their understanding of democracy. They want billionaires to be able to hold a meeting like this and say, you want to run for governor of Nevada? Great. Here's your check for $50 million. I'm giving it directly to you. I'm the Koch brothers. She is going to write your speeches. That's your media guy over there. That's your pollster over there. You work for me. Here is your check. And you need another 50. If that first 50 doesn't work, here it is. That is their definition of democracy, buying elections on the part of billionaires. But then they're on to something else too.